I stayed over a month in the adventure capital of the world, Dahab, Egypt. It rests along the Red Sea and the mountainous Sinai Peninsula. It's famous for a variety of adventure sports, including surfing, diving, and climbing. It's also known for being the most laid-back place in the Middle East. This you're gonna have to wait to the end to find out about, but we're talking about Dahab. I'd like to share my experiences and list some of my expenses. Out of all the places I stayed in Egypt, Dahab was the most unique. But was it good? Let's start with what can cause you problems. Visas. There are 3. The first type is the tourist visa. It lasts 7 days, but confines you to the area that you land in. It's what you're going to get by default if you don't buy the short-term visa. Short-term visa, there's a trick to get it, but it'll last you 30 days and you can travel throughout Egypt. It does cost $25 cash. The trick to get it is as you exit the terminal, you're going to be led to travel kiosks. The travel kiosks have a bunch of people looking to help you. You need to ignore them and sidestep to the bank kiosks because it's the bank kiosks that sell the short-term visa. The third type is the short-term residence permit. Some folks will consider this a tourist visa extension. I can promise you it is a residence permit. You can be granted up to 180 days without a rental contract. These will have to be obtained either from the passport office in Sharm el-Sheikh, Cairo, or Hurghada. It cost me $110 and 2 hours of running around, but that's because I didn't do any prior preparation beforehand. The system is quick, efficient, and everything is within the passport office area. At least for Hurghada. Now you're in, but you need to get around. Which leads us to our second difficulty, internet. As a remote worker, I need video calls that are near perfect. And in Dahab, Wi-Fi is not enough. At least not at this one place, which I'll show you later on. In 1 month, I spent $145 on 4G internet. That hurts. So what did I learn? 2 things. 1, you need to watch videos on 720p or less. Second, you need to only browse things on the low data list. All the cell providers have them. It's a restriction you have to deal with. Following these 2, I was able to bring my bill from $35 a week down to $20 a week. This is using 4G near constantly for work and for entertainment. Now for the necessities. Accommodation. Dahab can be broken into 2 parts. The lagoon in the south, which is where all the hostels and resorts are, and the lighthouse in the north, where all the houses and boutique hotels are, along with the bay, where all the restaurants and cafes are. I lived at the Airbnb closest to the lighthouse, and for $500 a month, it was an excellent deal. Service was great with weekly cleanings and a proactive host. While too basic for some, the laid-back beach vibe fit with Dahab perfectly. The best part was that everything was in walking distance. Cafes, restaurants, groceries, and even running errands. If that's too much for you, a 30-year local told me that a 1-bedroom apartment, furnished, in the center of town would cost about $350 a month. But you're going to save money on food, which is very affordable. Being a tourist town, Dahab has a wide variety of options, much of which is first world quality, and all of it is delicious. Whether you're grabbing an Egyptian breakfast for $3 or a vegan Buddha bowl for $11, you will be impressed. I ate out at least 2 times a day, every day, and ended up spending $323. Check out that video to see the top 5 cafes, and in it, I share with you where you can find the best Wi-Fi. With 4G internet, around $80, rent around $500, and food around $300, it means I spent $900 on just basic living expenses. But the thumbnail I shared has $1,745. So what was the other $845 on? First, diving. You'll find 3 types. The easiest and cheapest is snorkeling. Restaurants around the bay have gear available for customers to use while they wait for their food. The second type is free diving, and what Dahab is most known for. I spent most of my money on the third type, scuba diving. To earn a PADI certificate over 4 days cost me $418. Afterwards, a guided dive, which included gear, a guide, and transport, cost $38. Was it worth it? Kind of. If there's a place you need to scuba dive, it's the Red Sea. The amount of activity and diversity can't be beat. Add on world famous dive sites such as the Blue Hole, and you can't not take the opportunity to dive here. Or so I thought. One of the reasons I became a nomad was to find affordable windsurfing, and Dahab was the place to do it. As I got closer to my trip, I decided to do scuba diving instead. Having a budget meant I couldn't do both. While I appreciate the experience of having dived in Dahab, having missed out on what got me into this journey has nagged at me. But you live and learn. Had I gone windsurfing, and the only place to do so is in the South Lagoon, it would have cost $200 to learn. To rent windsurfing equipment would cost $40 a day, which included rescue. If kitesurfing is more your thing, that would cost $350 to learn. Then renting gear would cost $60 a day. A last minute decision I'm very happy about was rock climbing. The routes in the valleys of the Sinai Mountains, the same Sinai Mountains talked about in the Bible, these mountains are majestic, but also terrifying. Not the routes. The routes even kids can climb. No, the mountains themselves felt menacing. While large and grand, they're also sandblasted and seem brittle. The amount of rock and debris that was all over let you know it's very common for rocks to fall here. In fact, our guide was even warning us to keep our helmets on at all times, as just the other day, he watched a rock fall where someone was standing just previously. Spending $6 for equipment, a guide, and food was well worth it, especially for how great an opportunity it was to make friends. But was spending $1,745 in Dahab good? Well, due to its remoteness, internet quality is low, and prices are relatively higher than the rest of Egypt. But yes, I consider Dahab a must visit. See the pyramids and the tombs, but then go and stay in Dahab. It's the place that resorts in Hurghada and Sharm el-Sheikh are trying to imitate. It's a place where yin and yang mix perfectly between this laid-back vibe and adventure lifestyle. The energy in Dahab is high and calls to those that know they have to visit. For comparison, here's a video about Hurghada. Check it out to see what a city on the Red Sea looks like. Or subscribe, and you'll see the video I make about here in Bansko.